Today is day 3 of the adventures with the circular sock machine. I'm your host, Cheryl Beckridge, and today I am going to make a headband with cinched ends on both ends that are then joined together. The joining together and the cinching I'll do afterwards, but right now I'm going to start making the headband. I've got my 64 needle cylinder in. I started this with my setup bonnet down here and then put in my waste yarn, and I've done, I don't know, 9 or 10 rounds with the waste yarn. And now I'm going to start with the project yarn, which is a yarn that was donated to our church by somebody, I don't even know who, so this will be a donated headband that I'm making right now. And the yarn is Knit Picks, and it's Knit Picks sock yarn with no name, like no Felici or anything like that. I think just looking at the label, it looks a little bit older. Let me show you the label. It's Knit Picks Sock Garden. I don't think it's going to read it too well, but Knit Picks Sock Garden. There we go. A little bit. So anyway, we'll get started with that. This is going to be an easier project than the other two that we've done, but that's okay. I like to have something that I can be successful at and I get a finished item. Let's see if I can get it through the yarn carrier here. Okay. Again, still do not have a row counter, so I'm just going to have to wing it. I've got some other headbands that I've done, and I'll take the weight off periodically and do some measuring against that. I'm not making it for a specific person, so it will fit someone, I'm sure. So we're just going to start cranking. I like the tension of this, so I'm not going to adjust that. I will, as the tube gets longer, have to put on my buckle and move the weight up. So for right now, my weight is just hanging on my setup bonnet. Starting to see the project yarn coming out the bottom end of my CSM, so shortly I'll put the buckle on and hang the weight from that. My yarn came in a skein, but I wound it onto a cone with my regular ball winder that I use for hand knitting, and it basically made a ball on top of the cone. I'll show you that, but it has been working well for knitting, so nothing has gotten caught, and it's staying where it's supposed to be, so that may be good for my yarns that are not cone yarn. Okay, I've got some length here. I'm going to take my weight off And I'm just going to compare that to this. I'm going to say maybe another 30 rounds. This one is what I was measuring it against, and it's a little too big for me, but like I said, everything fits somebody, so. Okay, I actually put my buckle on correctly the first time. It's not super obvious which way it goes, but if you don't put it on there right, it just slips off. So you can pretty quickly tell if you've got it wrong, and you just have to try again. I felt a knot go through my hands, but I don't see anything. Okay, again, I'm gonna loosen my buckle and take a gander at how long I think this is. I'm going to go another 10 rounds. Well, and that time I did put it on incorrectly. I'm going to put it on incorrectly again. Okay, so if I'm holding it like this, I think that is the correct way to put it, and you put the material through here. Ah, that worked. We'll go another 10 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. I am going to just cut the project yarn, and we'll reattach the waste yarn. And when I put this waste yarn in, I want to bring it behind 2 or 3 needles to reduce the chance of dropping stitches. Okay. My cone of waste yarn was a little bit too close to another surface, and that was causing my carriage to not move smoothly. Okay, I've got about 10 rounds of the waste yarn. So we are going to pull that through, and we're going to crank this off. I'm going to remove my weight and my buckle. But I am going to pull down on this as I go around, and that comes off. So the length of our headband, I'll move this over here a bit. Okay, I have run a strand of yarn into the right leg of each stitch all the way around. And I'm overlapped by one stitch here where I started. So this darker pink is the end of the round and the lighter pink is the beginning. Now I'm just going to tear out my waste yarn. And once the waste yarn is all torn out, then I can cinch this end up. I'll repeat on the other end and attach one end to the other. So we're just going to cinch it up. Now the other thing that you could do is Kitchener the two ends together, which gives a nice look. And I don't mind Kitchenering it, but I kind of like having my headband smaller at the back. It seems a little more wearable. Like this one is cinched at both ends and then attached, where this one, most of it is the pink and the Kitchener is right in here. So on the other side you may be able to see a little bit, but they're both fine and they both work, but I think I prefer this one for myself. So I'm just going to get this as tight as I can, and I usually cross those over like half of a square knot, pull that out, and just try and get it as tight as I can, as I said. And then I'll run the yarns, both ends, through these stitches. So I'll take one direction and one the other. Then we'll repeat on the other end and attach it.